With the festive season just around the corner, what better way to unleash your festive creativity with a Christmas tree DIY? Something cool, fun and funky, ideal for the home, for the office environment, and you can get the kids stuck in too. It's so easy to make. Let's go through all the steps. Starting off with the material, I've got 2 lengths of 3-meter plain all round 94 by 22 millimeter thick timber. Make use of the guys at Builders and get them to cut it all for you to this cutting sheet. As for the other materials, we're using some wood stain. I've got some sage green Rust-Oleum and some Rust-Oleum Barn Red. We're going to be using some wood glue and some 35 millimeter screws. That's it for the materials that you need for this DIY. As for the tools, cordless drill, jigsaw, sander, clamp, a speed pilot to do my pilot hole and countersink at the same time, a pencil, tape measure, and a set square. Right, let's get festive, clear the table, and start the DIY. We're going to start off with the Christmas tree branches, shall we say. We've got all our pieces cut to size, and I've already preset the sizes. Just going to open that out, and then you're going to first of all measure the top and bottom to find their centers. We're now going to run our timber from the top of the center all the way down to the bottom corner. This is where you're going to pull each branch over so that you just see the corner sticking out. I'm happy with that. Let's strike our line all the way across, then over to the other side. We've struck that down, we've got the shape of the Christmas tree. We're now going to just mark exactly where the trunk would be. So those 2 points I had at the top, line up to the bottom. Okay, there's our full shape. We've got the sight lines to make sure we get them all in the right position. Now this is the most important part. If you are going to do it all multicolored like this, label it now. Otherwise, you probably will make a mistake and stay in the wrong ones a different color. Now we're going to make use of the jigsaw and cut each one of these pieces off. Keep those corner pieces. You're going to be using those as spacers a little later on. Once you've cut your last piece, which is the apex of the tree, you want to make sure that matches up to the same as your trunk. That way the top of the trunk will match up to the top of your tree part. So we've actually got a double thickness at the top. Quickly trim that off with the jigsaw. That's the branch sections complete. We now need to start making up our stand. So we've got these 2 pieces here, and that's going to interlock into each other. Now obviously you can see there's a larger gap here. That's to allow your trunk, once we've cut a little groove in the center there, that's going to slide all the way down into the bottom of the base and hold that whole tree up. So what do we need for the stand? We've got 2 pieces of the 400 and we're going to use the trunk section. First thing to do is find the center of both pieces and then draw a line square from edge to edge. Now this is the important part, to get the right width and the right depth. When it comes to depth, you want to be going down half of the thickness of the material. It's always a good idea to measure the material yourself and not just always go by the standard size that you buy, because often the timber does shrink and contract and you get slightly smaller sizes or bigger sizes. Double checking the thickness. So what we need is we need 1 slot here, 20 wide, and then 2 slots here, which is equivalent to 2 thicknesses of material. So that'll be 20 and 20, which is 40 millimeters. So we'll just measure that out. 10 either side of the line. Some point there. This one's going to be 20 either side of the line. We have a width of 93 millimeters. Half of that works out to be about 46.5. So we're going to measure down 46.5 and then score a line across. And that's how deep we need to cut in this slot. It's always a good idea to mark that because you can so easily cut all the way through. We also need to mark up the matching slot on the bottom of the trunk. This is going to be 1 thickness thick. Okay, moment of truth to make sure that our pieces actually interlock. Let's push that guy in there like so. It's a nice tight snug fit, and then hopefully our trunk should slide into position. Great, a good firm snug fit. Okay, so what do we need to do next? Give everything a good sand down. Try not to lose the lettering that we put on there earlier. You're going to need that to make sure you get the right order. My sanding is complete. It's now time to stain. Now remember earlier on we actually labeled everything RNG, red and green. So separate those guys, don't get them mixed up. Remember to always use some rubber gloves when using the stain. Apply it with a rag, really rub it in. If you put too much, you can just wipe off the excess with a soft rag. Remember, when applying wood stain, always go in the direction of the grain. Otherwise, you're going to get these crisscross lines and it's just not going to look natural. Okay, so to save a bit of time, I've stained up a whole batch here behind me. So we're going to put these aside and then carry on with the DIY. We're now going to place them all into position. Just open these guys up. Make sure you've got your sight lines on the top side because we're going to use that to line up our trunk. Now remember earlier I spoke to you about saving those corner pieces which we've trimmed off on the sides here. We're going to use those as our spacers. Pop one piece on either side. Pull each branch down and then we've got perfect spacing all the way through. So we've got all our pieces evenly spaced. Pull in our trunk, line up with our apex, and then matching up each one of your sight lines all the way down. Then we're going to use our drill and speed pilot, just line up in the back of the panels all the way through. The speed pilot will draw my clearance hole and countersink the back surface as well to allow my screw to sit below the surface. And that's our Christmas tree structure complete. All we need to do now is pop it into our stand. So bring the stand back, line that up into its base. A simple DIY, I'm very happy with that. However, there's something that's really important that's needed. And yes, we can dress it up with some lights and some stockings and some tinsel, but for me, I think a bit of workshop snow is probably the best thing for it. Let's just sprinkle that all on the edge. There you go, really cool, really funky, simple and easy to do. Anybody can do it and it's perfect for the festive season. If you enjoyed this DIY, like it, share it. You can also subscribe to the Builders Fan YouTube channel where there's a range of DIYs just like this for you to replicate and be inspired.